Yesterday, Japanese Prime Minister Sana Takaichi sent ritual offerings to the Yasukuni war shrine. It is reported that today she made a monetary offering to the shrine. Minoru Kiyoshi, Japan's minister in charge of Japan's growth strategy, and other diplomats are also present, was China's comment. I have made China's serious position clear yesterday. Japan's negative moves related to Yasukuni war shrine constitute a blatant provocation against international justice and an affront to human conscience. China is strongly indignant and severely deplores it. During World War II, Japan's militarism has committed innumerable crimes, inflicting immense suffering on China, other Asian countries, and the rest of the world. The Yasukuni war shrine is a spiritual tool and symbol of Japanese militarist war of aggression. It is a war criminal shrine through and through, as it honors the convicted Class A war criminals responsible for Japan's aggression in World War II, including Hideki Toyo, a warmonger and the worst war criminal, Kenji Dohara, who started the war of aggression, Iwane Masui, the perpetrator of the Nanjing massacre, Osami Nagano, who ordered the attack on Pearl Harbor, Kuniaki Koiso, who killed countless people resisting Japanese aggression in the Korean Peninsula. They are all major war criminals responsible for atrocities against the people in Asia and the rest of the world. The nature of the issue concerning the Yasukuni war shrine is whether Japan is able to rightly perceive and deeply reflect on its history of militarist aggression, and whether it can learn lessons from history and avoid a repeat of that part of history. This bears on the political foundation of China-Japan relations, on Japan's credibility as a nation, and on the post-war international order, as well as peace and justice in the world. The negative moves have shown that Japan, in total disregard of international concerns and just voices from both inside Japan and the world, has all along refused to acknowledge its history of aggression during World War II, attempted to change the verdict on its war of aggression and the Class A war criminals, and even went further to challenge the judgment of the Tokyo trials and post-war international order. Lately, there has been a marked increase in the Japanese government's negative moves and reckless provocative acts on issues concerning China's Taiwan region, the history of World War II, the military and security. Prime Minister Takaichi's erroneous remarks on Taiwan have had a grave impact on China-Japan relations. In the face of strong criticism, opposition from China as well as home and abroad, some Japanese politicians and right-wing forces chose to go down the wrong path rather than reflect on and correct their wrongdoings. The Chinese people in other countries that suffered under Japanese aggression, and all peace-loving forces for justice in the world will never allow this. This year marks the 80th anniversary of the beginning of the Tokyo trials. The trials found Japanese militarism and the militarists guilty of launching and executing acts of aggression and related crimes, thus upholding historical truths, international justice, and human dignity. Today, 80 years later, Japanese new militarism is rearing its ugly head and gaining strength, threatening to cast a shadow on world peace and security. The international community must respond resolutely to prevent any possible resurgence of Japanese militarism. Next one, please.
April 26th marks the World Intellectual Property Day, and China's National IP Publicity Week is being launched starting from Monday. Recent years have witnessed breakthroughs in China's emerging areas such as AI, quantum technology, and crewed space programs. Innovated in China is becoming even more well-known than made in China. That said, individual countries still try to accuse China of infringing on IP rights and stealing cutting-edge technologies in critical sectors, and have rolled out bans on China. What's your comment? To protect IP rights is to protect innovation and enable high-quality development. China is one of the world's leading countries in the area of IP and has been the top filer of international patent applications for years. China is committed to protecting intellectual property rights. We've established 81 national-level IP protection centers, 50 fast IPR protection service centers, and 99 overseas IP dispute response guidance platforms, providing more satisfying IPR protection services for the society. More and more transnational corporations set up their R&D centers in China, and a number of valid invention patents applied in China has increased year by year. China is not only the world's factory, but is also becoming the world's innovation lab. The allegations of intellectual property theft by China are nothing but baseless narratives. China's development is the result of its own dedication and effort, as well as international cooperation that delivers mutual benefits. China will stay committed to the vision of building a community with a shared future for humanity and the principles of openness, inclusiveness, balance, and benefits for all, and advance a fairer and more just global governance on IP. Next one, please.
Thank you, AFP. The US President Donald Trump on Tuesday extended the ceasefire with Iran. First, what's your reaction? And second, did Chinese diplomacy play a role in extending this ceasefire? Thank you.
当前地区局势
The current situation in the region is at a critical stage of whether the conflict can end. The pressing priority is to prevent, by all means, a relapse in fighting. China supports relevant parties in continuing the political and diplomatic effort to resolve disputes with the aim of realizing a full and lasting ceasefire and keeping the Middle East and Gulf region peaceful and stable. China stands ready to act in the spirit of the four-point proposition put forward by President Xi Jinping and work with the international community to play an active and constructive role to this end. Next one, please.
Hi, EFE News Agency. So, Panama Supreme Court has recently issued the first compensation rulings for victims of the 2006 mass poisoning caused by cough syrup contaminated with diethylene glycol. The case was linked at the time to an international supply chain involving companies in China, Spain, and Panama. Does the Chinese side have any comment on this development? And does it believe sufficient lessons were learned from that case regarding product safety and export controls? Thank you.
我不掌握有
I'm not familiar with this case. We've attached great importance to security. I would like to refer you to competent authorities. Next one, please.
Thank you. Question from Reuters. Taiwan said Leching had to cancel his visit to Eswatini as 3 African countries denied him overflight access. Taiwan said the countries Seychelles, Mauritius, Madagascar were under economic coercion from China to do so. What is China's response to that? Did China reach out to those countries about the airspace access? And did China reach out to other African countries too?
非洲除斯威
All African countries, with the sole exception of Eswatini, have established diplomatic ties with China. These 53 countries, together with the African Union, have adopted the Beijing Declaration at the 2024 FOCAC Summit. They have reiterated on many occasions that they firmly uphold the One China principle. There is but one China in the world. Taiwan is an inalienable part of China's territory. The government of the People's Republic of China is the sole legal government representing the whole of China, and they firmly support all efforts by the Chinese government to achieve national reunification. China highly commends their effort to the One China principle, which is fully consistent with international law and basic norms governing international relations. It's very clear that there is no longer a so-called ROC president in the world anymore. Anyone who wears that false title is acting against history and will only invite disgrace upon themselves. The One China principle is where the arc of history bends and public opinion trends. And to uphold this is the right thing to do. No one can ever stop the eventual reunification of China. The separatist attempts aimed at Taiwan independence are just futile and doomed to fail. Next one, please.
Thank you. Another question from Reuters. US President Trump said in an interview with CNBC yesterday that the Iranian ship the U.S. intercepted might have had a gift from China. And he said that he thought he had an understanding with President Xi. What is China's comment to this? What was on the Iranian flag vessel that was traveling from China?
伊朗的船只有个评论。
已经多次
On many occasions, we have made our point clear. As a responsible major country, China have always performed its international duties.